No, our shortest is 12 minutes.
Yeah, we'll never see that again.
No, a good half an hour. Yeah, turn it up. Oh, I like those.
Yeah, these are $6.
Are you kidding? I like them.
My daughter found them on
Do you buy the frame? I really like them. Wow.
Yeah, like 3 new pairs.
So you can just change them on a whim?
Yeah, so you'll see me coming in.
Yeah. Oh, I like them. Very nice.
Yeah, they're very
It's nice to have you closer now. You were sitting way down there for a while.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners regular meeting, June 9th, 2011. It is 7 p.m. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
President Riley?
Here.
Vice President Heidi?
Here.
Commissioner Eagan?
Present.
Commissioner Janner?
Here.
Commissioner Ori?
Here.
Commissioner Todd? Here. Commissioner Young?
Here.
Thank you. Now, this is the fun part of the program. All the time we have awards of recognition. Could I please ask Chuck Price of the Naperville Evening Kiwanis to join me at the podium? Kind of gives you a clue to the rest of the meeting. Right? Chuck was a member. Let me see if I can get this started again.
He's coming.
It appears we need a password. So somebody is moving rapidly forward.
Everybody close your eyes.
What'd you say? Okay.
Put on blinders.
It's just
Okay.
Chuck was a Kiwanis member in 1990 when the club headed up the team of volunteers to build the gazebo in Central Park. The gazebo, for those of you that have been there, which I'm sure most of us, it's a well-known, very prominent icon right in the center of the park. And a lot of nonprofit organizations use it to sell baked goods and ice creams during the concert. So it's really a fun thing. It's actually hard to imagine Central Park without that gazebo being there. 21 years later, the gazebo was in need of a new roof, painting, other maintenance, and again, the Kiwanis Club stepped forward to do the work. Specifically, their $1,200 contribution provided funds for a new cupola. So thanks to the support of the club, the gazebo is ready for the summer band concert season and be set for the community. So on behalf of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners, I am pleased to present this to the Naperville Evening Kiwanis. Let me just read it. The Naperville Park District Board of Park Commissioners is pleased to recognize the Naperville Evening Kiwanis for their generous donation toward the renovation of the Central Park gazebo dated this 9th day of June 2011.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can't say a few words.
Actually, the Kiwanis financed the building, but there were other important members that donated time. Specifically Chuck George, architectural firm, who did modifications to a off-the-wall gazebo that we purchased. Cliff Preston and his son, builders, did most of the real technical work as far as the building of the thing. The Naperville Evening Kiwanis, I think you would consider, did the grunt work, I think. Okay. Oh, and incidentally, there was also a concrete firm that donated the base, which was substantial as far as cost. So it wasn't just the Naperville Evening Kiwanis, it was a cooperative effort with many, many people, and the Park District. Dennis Ulrey worked with us, and the city, who we had to work with too. Anyway, thank you for recognizing us. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Maybe we should do more for you.
Let me see if I can pull up the pictures of it here. This is what it looked like prior to the renovation. This is the plaque that actually acknowledged the donors that did the work in 1990. And then the picture that was taken this afternoon, which is what the new gazebo looks like. So, Chuck, thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is matters from the public. Jackie, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No one has signed up.
Okay, then we will get into updates and reports, and we'll start off with the Riverwalk Commission update. Commissioner Todd.
Okay, one of the first things we talked about at the commission was the opening of the beach, and there was a lot of very positive comments about our beach opening and the activities around that. Overall, the folks really loved the upgrades and how the new and the old of the beach just seemed to be very seamless in its presentation. There was also very positive comments about our Centennial Grill, which is newly opened, and they like the idea that the grill is also accessible to folks who are walking the Riverwalk and using the skate park and the playground and just on the Riverwalk. You don't have to be within Centennial or within the beach to be able to use it. The other thing is we will again be inviting the public to assist the Park District in replacing asphalt on the far west end of the Riverwalk with pavers. This activity is going to take place on 4 Wednesdays in July, and it'll take place from 9 o'clock in the morning till noon. So those dates will be July 6th, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. So if anyone is interested in working on installing in pavers, just show up at the west end on those dates, the far west end of the Riverwalk. The dedication for the donor plaque for the Millennium Wall is scheduled for July 15th, 4 p.m., so put that on your calendar. We also talked about a preliminary plan for the North Central Gateway. That project was, we're just starting to look at some of the details of that. We made some comments and expect this to be before the board for approval in one of the next few upcoming meetings, so you should be seeing some information on that soon. We also requested that we put this item on our capital project tour so that everybody could understand what the impact is going to be for that project. And North Central wants to start that project right away. They're very anxious to get it started, so our approval and the city's approval, it needs to be done quickly for them to do that. And then there's another project that's being talked about. There's a community group that's interested in creating a youth center in or near the far end, near Friedenhagen Park. And one of the items they were discussing was the possible reconstruction of the structure that's in that park to provide a center. But it's very, very preliminary, and you may hear more information about that, but that's what was talked about. Okay.
Thank you. Next to be the Riverwalk Foundation update. The Riverwalk Foundation will meet again next week, June 14th at 4:30 at Naperville Settlement. The project for the installation of the plaques, as Commissioner Taz mentioned, commemorating those who have served our country on the reconstructed Millennium Wall, is in the final stages. And those plaques will be installed, and the dedication of the wall is scheduled for Friday, July 15th at 4 p.m. Also, Jackie, I'll take this time to do the Carillon Foundation report. The Millennium Carillon Foundation meets on a quarterly basis. The next meeting will be held July 7th. While full information is available at the Millennium Carillon website, I just want to point out some special events. On July 4th, before the fireworks, Tim Sleep and Sue Berggren will play patriotic music. There will be a Calliope recital on July 5th. And on July 26th, August 9th, and August 16th, the Elan dancers will perform on the plaza at the base of the Moser Tower with Carillon music. The Carillon's July 4th fundraiser continues. A raffle for the chance to see fireworks from a unique perspective atop the Carillon is still open. 4 winners will receive 4 tickets each, and the grand prize winner will receive 6 tickets. Tickets are $5 apiece, or 3 for $10. They're available from the Park District Administration Building, the Carillon Visitors Center, or you can buy them online at naperville-carillon.org. It's a great event and a great way to financially support the Carillon, an icon in our community. Next is the Finance Committee update. Vice President Heidi.
President Riley, the Finance Committee has not met since my last report, so there's nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Legislative Committee update, also Vice President Hyde.
Can I just say ditto? We have not met since my last report.
Next is the Parks and Recreation Committee update. Commissioner Todd.
Okay, I'll try to keep this brief. We began a discussion regarding the master plan, and we gave staff some inputs on updates we'd like to see. Staff's going to get some of the census data from the city and is going to make some updates with that in mind. And then we're going to be continuing to work on this item before we bring it before the entire board. We also talked about athletic field cost recovery, and we talked about a couple of different models that we think might be able to work in our instance. Brad and his team's going to go back and take a look at our data and apply it to these models, and we're going to see which one is a best fit for our environment, and then we're going to, this is going to be an ongoing item for the committee for a while, and then we'll bring it before the entire board. As I said before, and we've said before, the beach is open and this new Centennial Grill is open. Both seem to be doing well the first weekend. We encourage people to give it a try and give us feedback on it. Nike Park is nearing completion. Let's see, there's also plantings are complete at the University Heights. We want to thank the volunteers who participated in that project. There's a project at Hunter's Woods that's they're working on canopy clearing and enhancement to the trails there, and then there's prep work is starting at Knock Park in anticipation of Bribfest, which will be taking place at the end of this month. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Next is the Strategic Planning Committee update. Commissioner Rory?
There's no report.
Next is Golf Committee. Commissioner Young?
Director Provo discussed the golf business plan and asked for feedback on that. We discussed it, and he also passed it out. The business plan is on the committee agenda for Monday's meeting. Our next meeting is this Monday, and it will likely be presented to the full board at our next full meeting. Director Luthman discussed refreshing the marketing of our golf programs with new banners, Facebook ads, and program booklets, such as this one. So look for these. Director Provo updated the committee on the Golf Now program, and this tee time service is now live, and several groups have already booked times at Naperbrook. We also discussed the April golf revenue and expenses. Both are down. The revenue continues to be below expectations, mainly due to the extreme poor weather trends. Fortunately, labor costs and other expenses are also down. We suspect that the weather will also impact our May numbers. And as for rain, Naperbrook received 4.5 inches of rain last night. Springbrook received 3¼ inches. Naperbrook is closed for today, and Springbrook is currently open, but only for walking.
Thank you. Next will be the Park Foundation update report. The Foundation met on June 8th, met yesterday. I attended the meeting as a representative for the Board of Commissioners. Executive Director Ray McGurry, staff representative for the Foundation, also attended, along with selected members of his leadership team. The Foundation is still in its formative stage, but a mission statement has been adopted. The statement reads, "The Naperville Parks Foundation is an advocate for our parks and open spaces, established to receive and allocate charitable gifts, grants, and donations, and to provide support and funding for the enjoyment of present and future generations." The Foundation is positioning itself to serve as a conduit to facilitate tax-deductible gifts to benefit parks in our area. As such, it will not be conducting general fundraising efforts, but rather will support interested groups. Next would be the President's report. Tonight concludes my second term as President of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners. Over the past year, the Commissioners have worked together effectively, providing direction, oversight, and guidance to our Executive Director and in turn to his first-class leadership team. Last year at this time, I highlighted some milestones achieved by the Board of Commissioners in the 2009-2010 board year. Namely, we rewrote the board policies and bylaws, completed an RFP process which led to the selection of a new legal firm for the Park District. We developed a new strategic plan. We implemented an improved performance plan and review process for the Executive Director, and we expanded the number of board committees, each linked to a goal in the strategic plan. This past board year, we continued to build and expand on our solid foundation. The committee/workshop/regular meeting process flow that we adopted last year really hit its stride. It is important to note that the process itself isn't an accomplishment. It's merely an efficient, effective means to achieve a desired end result. That desired end result is positioning the Commissioners to make the best final decisions based on the thorough, transparent development of ideas and projects through a series of public meetings over a period of weeks. In the past year, we also finalized the design and awarded contracts to start work on the Centennial Beach, Nike Sports Complex, and Seeger Park projects. Centennial Beach was rededicated 2 weeks ago. We established a Parks Foundation. This body, now totally independent of the Park District, can serve as a vehicle for individuals and businesses to support parks in Naperville on a tax-deductible basis. We delivered our first annual State of the Park District address. This annual presentation highlights what we've done in the past year and what we've planned for the coming year. We feel it's a very worthwhile 30-minute update for our residents. We established a new board, including two newly elected commissioners, Rich Danner and Bill Eagan. We improved the onboarding process for new commissioners, which included an afternoon orientation session with our executive director, approximately 15 members of his leadership team, and me, a special session with our legal counsel, Ansel Glink, and a tour of projects that are in process or planned. The process culminated with participation in our annual board retreat. The annual board retreat, new this year, allows commissioners and staff a venue to discuss high-level directions not linked to specific projects. One of the positive outcomes of this year's retreat was the development of what we call our framework. That is the interrelationship of the various plans that make the Naperville Park District work. In short, the board is working effectively, so thank you, Ray, and staff, and best wishes to the 2011-2012 officers we'll elect tonight. And now for our Executive Director's update.
Thank you, President Riley. I'd like to start with congratulating 3 of our staff members. Director of Parks Kevin Finnegan, our IT Manager Rob Wysocki, and Superintendent of Recreation Fred Geisel just finished a pretty extensive 6-month program through the Naperville Area Chamber of Commerce called Leadership Institute. And they graduated a couple evenings ago, and very proud of them and the time commitment that they put in outside of work to accomplish this task. So kudos to all 3 of them. We were fortunate enough to receive a $400,000 OSLAD grant through the for the Meadow Glens project. We did some publicity on that, but again, I'd like to thank Sue Omenson, who's in the crowd back there, Sue can wave, for her diligence and hard work, and Eric Schutz, Director of Planning, and his staff. A lot goes into these grants. This isn't just something that you sign a name to and send in. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and certainly the hard work that Sue and Eric and his staff put into this certainly benefits the taxpayers of this community. Just a reminder also, coming up July 16th will be our grand opening of the Nike Sports Complex expansion. That event's going to begin at 10 a.m. with the ribbon cutting. We'll also have a variety of sports-themed activities, both exhibition and clinic-type opportunities. People should watch our website for the details. And then finally, as mentioned by several of the commissioners up here, I would ask that the community be patient with us. Actually, we had 5.5 inches of rain at Naperbrook, 3.5 inches at Springbrook. And as you can imagine, our fields are pretty much underwater at this point. And unfortunately, it looks like another 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain is coming over the next day and a half or two. So just be patient with us. We do our best to get those fields turned around and back up for use. But when Mother Nature talks, we listen. So thank you.
Thank you.
President Riley, move to approve the April 2011 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
Aye.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes. Next, we have our consent agenda. I'll ask if there are any items to be removed from the consent agenda. First, we want to remove item N, and we'll consider that under unfinished business. Are there any other items to be pulled from the consent agenda? Commissioner Rory?
Request we pull item H, tall grass basketball court.
Are there any additional items to be pulled from the consent agenda?
President Riley, move to approve items A through G and I through M of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
Aye.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes.
President Riley, move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay. President Riley, move to approve ordinance number 756.
You have to-
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's where it goes.
H is, would be,
What am
To item H.
Okay, gotcha. President Riley, move to approve items H and N of the consent agenda. Okay, okay. Move to approve item H of the consent agenda.
and to read.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to read that. That is, award the contract for the Tallgrass Park 2011 basketball court project to Fuerte Systems Incorporated in the amount of $49,950. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Ori.
Yes, I'd ask for this to be pulled so that I could make a couple of comments. I've got nothing against the development of basketball courts, nor do I have anything against the development of Tallgrass Park. In fact, just the opposite. I think outside basketball courts are probably one of our better used facilities, and the people around Tallgrass Park have been very patient over the years in looking at a pile of dirt and asking, when is that going to become a park? So I'm fully confident my other fellow commissioners are going to support this. But as a matter of principle, several months ago, I sat down with the executive director and the director of planning and said that until we have a system in place for establishing priorities and addressing the big picture, and in this case, there are, I think, on the books, 6 outdoor basketball courts, and until we address those in a comprehensive fashion, and we're developing the processes for that to happen, I would not support for the 2011 year any new construction that didn't have those that methodology in place. So that's the reason I'm voting against this, not because I'm against basketball nor Tallgrass Park. Both are needed.
Any further discussion on the motion? There's no further discussion. Jackie, please call the roll.
Vice President Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
No.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes.
President Riley, move to approve item N, approval of minutes from our regular meeting of May 12, 2011.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan?
Abstain.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
Aye.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes.
President Riley, move to approve ordinance number 756, authorizing the third amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County, the City of Naperville, and the Naperville Park District concerning the West Branch Naperville Riverway project, subject to final wording approval by the district's legal counsel.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Before we go into discussion on the motion, I ask that Dirk Price please give us some update on this and some further background.
Thank you, President Riley. Since the workshop where we last discussed this in May, President Riley and I met with the city and the Forest Preserve District and their legal counsel to go over what was down to the last sticking point, which had to do with the railroad lease. In order to complete the trail, we're leasing property from the Burlington Northern Santa Fe. And the old joke goes that, to the railroad, the order is the railroad, then God, then country. And they have some pretty, broad terms requiring indemnification from the Forest Preserve District, and that in turn would apply to the Park District after the Forest Preserve District builds the amenities and turns them over to us. Working with PDERMA, the Park District Risk Management Agency, who is our insurance pool, because the railroad's obviously not a park district and not a member of the agency, we have to go to the private market to find some insurance to meet their demands. And in working with the Forest Preserve, we recognize that there's some risk here involved, and we came to an agreement, thanks to the good work of Ross Hill from the Forest Preserve, Carl Schultz, and President Riley. We were able to move forward. Working with PDERMA, the wording that's in your agreement now is how we've solved the insurance issue and managed the risk, which is procuring $10 million of coverage relative to this project. It starts out with the Forest Preserves building the amenities, and their insurance program's already been approved by the Burlington Northern, and then when it gets turned over to us for the maintenance and, for the next 20 years, 40 years, our insurance program now is in place. We have a $10 million policy. We name everybody as additional insureds. And if for some reason some catastrophe happens where there's exposure solely to the railroad through the indemnification clause, the Forest Preserve and the Park District agree that we don't have to go that alone, we go that together. And so thanks to the good work of those officials and the staff, we're ready to go forward. And I'm happy to entertain other questions, but this is finally how we complete this trail agreement in a way that's responsible and prudent, and the best we can do. Is it ideal? Well, to a lawyer, a pig iron house underwater is about the ideal risk. So we're short of that, but I can recommend that we go forward and do this agreement.
Discussion on the motion. Commissioner Ori, then Commissioner Young, I believe.
Another sticking point for me, a very minor one, was in paragraph 4.4, talking about how we're going to, in 40 years, replace the structure along the way, and we could not reach agreement, and I think, in effect, we're kicking this can down the road, but I hope we don't wait 40 years to sit down to the table with the Forest Preserve and iron out the process. I hate for us to, at the end of 40 years, have to put some tape across because the bridge is or the underpass under the bridge is no longer functioning, and that we don't have a system in place. So hopefully we stay with this and solve that little sticking point. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Young?
No.
Any other discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
Aye.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the annual meeting election of the board president and vice president, and at this time it's my pleasure to turn the meeting over to the executive director.
Thank you, President Riley. Okay, at this time I will accept nominations for the office of president.
Executive Director McGurry, I nominate Mike Riley for president.
I'll second.
Any other nominations for the office of president? If there are no further nominations, I will accept a motion to close the nominations for the office of president.
Move to...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, please.
At the last year. You two were at this last year.
So moved. So moved.
Yeah, okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, when your name is called, please, well, I guess we don't have to indicate the choice. We only got one.
We can do a voice vote.
Okay, all in favor of Mike Riley becoming president for the 2011-2012 term, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This time, congratulations to, this is your third term?
Good.
Third term, President Mike Riley.
Sooner or later, we'll get it right. Thank you.
And this time, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
And my first order of business is to accept nominations for the office of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Kirsten Young.
I would second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for Commissioner Young serving the office of vice president. Are there any other nominations? If there are no further nominations, I'll accept a motion to close the nominations for the office of vice president.
Move to close the nominations for vice president.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, and then the underlying motion.
All those in favor for the election of Commissioner Kirsten Young for the office of Vice President signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Congratulations.
President Riley, I'd like to move to appoint Jackie Stern as Board Secretary.
Motion's been made and seconded.
I think you can do them together. Oh, sorry. Who's that?
Are there any further nominations? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Yeah.
President Riley, move to appoint Sue Stanish as Board Treasurer.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Be no further nominations. I'll close nominations for treasurer. All in favor of appointing Sue Stanish as treasurer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Well, thank you. Congratulations. Next, I just want to announce a special meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners, June 23rd, 2011 at 6 p.m. in the Administration Building. Next regular meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners will be July 14th, 7 p.m. here. And on July 28th, there'll be another special meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners at 6 p.m. And before we move on to the next item on the agenda, I just want to thank my fellow commissioners for the confidence that they've displayed in me by voting me in as president. So thank you. I'll try to earn your confidence.
President Riley, move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition under 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act and pending litigation under 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Jackie, call the roll.
Vice President Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Eagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Aye.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes.
in solving Naperville's challenges for years to come. I am very passionate about the city and where I have lived all my life, and Naperville has been home to my family for 7 generations, and I am proud of the quality of life we have in Naperville and want to ensure that it continues for your families. I am ready to serve you, and I feel my experience has well prepared me to lead the City Council in solving Naperville's challenges. Visit voteinterlong.com. I ask for your vote on April 7th, and I'm number 4 on the ballot. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Hinterlong. Mr. Lynch?
Well, I don't want to turn it into an Oscar award, but I do want to thank the Confederation for hosting this event tonight. I also want to thank NCTV for getting the word out. I want to thank city staff for making it all possible, and I want to thank you, Mr. Dolan, for having done such a great job tonight. I also want to thank my fellow candidates up here, as well as in the other local elections, school board, and park district. I think it's a testament to the city that we have so many quality people willing to serve the public. I also want to thank, most importantly, the audience that's here and the ones that are sitting at home tonight. The questions have been great. I'm reminded of a statement, I believe it was from Noah Webster, who said that the preservation of government depends on the faithful discharge of the duty to vote. This audience here has shown that it desires to faithfully discharge its duty. To say that people, meaning the voters, get confused, I believe is an insult. I trust you, the voters, to cast an educated vote. I've also heard it said tonight many times that the challenges the city is facing are complicated, and I will agree with that. but I don't think that they're unsolvable. I don't think that it's not possible for us to tackle those problems. And I believe that I, together with, in a consensus with other members of the council, can work towards leading the city towards the resolution of all these challenges. Again, there are no problems, only challenges, and challenges are nothing more than another chance at an opportunity. I hope that the voters will take the time to review my qualifications, not only from tonight's event, but from visiting my campaign site. I've named it after all of you. It's called friendsoflynch.com. By viewing NCTV's broadcast of my interview and by contacting me directly, as many of you already have. If you have any special concerns, I want to hear about it. I want to talk to you about it. I want to learn about it, and I want to see if we can work together to resolve it. I'm hoping that you'll vote now during early election time and also on April 7th, or either or. Let's not do both. This is not Cook County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Mr. Eagan?
I'll take a second to thank everybody as well. Appreciate the time and allowing me to come up here. And I'd love to take a moment and thank everybody, the hundreds of people who signed my petitions to allow me to be up here. You took a few seconds of your life to positively impact mine, and I appreciate that. We cannot look at ourselves as separate groups: government, residents, North Central College, school districts, and park districts. We need to make sure that we are all putting ideas forward to maintain what everyone in the past has built for us to enjoy. Naperville is a product, guys, right? I moved here 5 years ago specifically for the school districts and the historical district in that downtown area. We all had very specific reasons why we moved here. More importantly, why we stay here. We all need to have a little skin in the game, and we can't sit back and watch things happen. Please, get out the vote. You're watching this, you're in the audience, make sure your friends and family are voting. Let's get it above the 10% mark for this election. We need to make sure that we're looking to the future. I'm the only candidate running with the CPA, and this council went out and sought Mr. Dunn out for that skill set specifically. Balanced budget is not the only answer. You need to be asking yourself, what happens if that sales tax revenue dries up? What if it drops 20%? What are we going to do? We're going to get together and have a bunch of meetings. We can't micromanage the staff. We need to set strategy. We need to have that plan in place. We have a very talented staff and a great guy running it, Mr. Krieger. We need to give him the playbook and let him be the quarterback and call those shots on the field. The DuPage Children's Museum is a huge asset. That is a building block for our school systems, whether you're in 203 or 204, whether you're in Lisle, you're in Wheaton. That sets the basis for education. My kid goes out there and learns a ton all the time. My last point, we need to make sure government remains accessible. Workshop meetings at 3 o'clock in the afternoon robs you, the individual, for your right to come and participate in the meetings. Meetings need to be held in the evening every week as needed.
Thank you, Mr. Eagan. And Mr. Boasian?
I would like to thank the Confederation for hosting this event tonight. Next, I would like to thank all of you who have taken the time to listen to all the candidates here. Naperville is fortunate to have citizens that are willing to run for public office, and we're equally fortunate to have citizens who will take the time to learn about their choices. We have a great deal tonight that we've talked about challenges, opportunities, and each of our personal philosophies on governance. I hope you've seen tonight, and by my past work over the last 6 years, that I have a deep knowledge of our city and a passion for our city. Council actions need to be rooted in our endorsed practices and policies, and above all, they should lead to decisions that are consistently applied. I've tried to do the best job I can to listen to all points of view and consider all viewpoints, but in the end, strive to make decisions that are for the good of all Naperville. I come to the council after 29 years in the private sector, and this was supplemented by my service to the community on over 18 years of boards and commissions that included the Plan Commission, the West Suburban Mass Transit District, the Transportation Advisory Board, and now City Council. I was pleased to receive the endorsement of the Daily Herald newspaper for the third time, I might add. They wrote in their editorial, "Jim Boasian is a clear choice as a straightforward, no-nonsense candidate who has served the council with distinction for the past 6 years." Finally, I would be honored to receive your vote of confidence again for this next election, and I might add, for my final election. Thanks again for listening to all of us tonight, and above all, for taking the time to vote. All candidates you've heard tonight deserve your careful consideration. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Boyajian. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the residents for watching this evening, and thank Mr. Dolan and the Federation for all their hard work in putting together this very challenging forum. To the voters in Naperville, I point to my 4 years of leadership representing you on the council. There's a lot left to do. I will work hard with the challenge of our economic issue that is before us. Also, the transportation infrastructure issues, including Route 59. Something we haven't talked about now is this Canadian National purchase of the EJ&E. I believe this will have an impact on our quality of life and potential business as we go forward. We need to look at our infill development to make it such that the developers can redevelop into the neighborhood, make it a quality development for the neighborhood. And lastly, we need to address downtown business, not only for parking, but also to keep it vibrant and a destination for those outside of Naperville. I believe I have the experience, integrity, vision, and the passion to be a leader for you for another 4 years. So I appreciate your vote when you check off position 9 on the ballot for 4 more years. And also check my website, electkenmiller.com. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. And Mr. Derkacy.
I'd like to begin by thanking the Homeowners Confederation for hosting this forum tonight. I'd also like to thank the residents who came out to hear us speak and offer some great questions for us to answer. I'd also like to thank those residents who are watching from home. Naperville is facing an environment of change. It's a cliche to say that change is inevitable, but it is. But progress is not. We need to be willing to change in order to progress forward as a city. Progress is what the city should be working towards. Progress means maintaining the quality of life for all residents of Naperville. It means improving our environment so that we have safe, clean communities in which to live in and raise our families. It means having a strong and vibrant economy which generates jobs for our residents and tax revenues to fund city services. It means improving our area transportation by developing and utilizing public transportation alternatives. All of these things will not happen unless we are willing to work for them. Our economic future is uncertain, but it will not remain that way forever. I believe the city can meet these economic challenges by focusing on the needs and necessities of our city and its residents and delaying our wants and desires. We need to broaden and diversify our tax base to encourage new business and industry to locate in our city. We need to make our city more attractive to the unique small business owners. We need to find ways to help them remain profitable and remain a valued asset to our city. I have a background in financial analysis. I believe I can help our city through the financial difficulties we face, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Derkacy. Ms. Brodhead.
Thanks very much to the Confederation, to NCTV, the residents who are watching here and participating and contributing questions, and the residents watching at home. The city's motto for its staff is great service all the time, and that should be the City Council's motto as well. City Council members have a responsibility to be responsive to the needs and desires of their residents, to the business